aspiration, to aspire to things. We've got a mixed relationship with people who aspire to greater things. On the one hand, we laud them as heroes and visionaries. On the other hand, we can very easily try to drag them down, saying, "Who you think you're better than us?" I think both reactions are very human and to varying degrees very justifiable, quite honestly. Um, I think that there are some people who aspire to rule the world, for example. That's a lofty aspiration, and I think those people can go rot in hell. There are people who would tear down other people for trying to make beautiful things, and I think that they're wrong too, right? So when there's a middle ground. So there are people who aspire to create their own personal wealth bubble and pass it on to their children. And um, there are degrees to which that's totally normal and acceptable in human society. And then there is a degree to which it gets rapacious, and you're not satisfied with having, you know, 5 Lamborghinis. You need the sixth and the seventh and the eighth. You need the mega yacht. You need, more private jets, and it's your own. What did he call it? Guilty pleasure to have all these jets, or to fly around in private jets. It's his guilty pleasure. You might know who I'm talking about. Um, that level of desire to get ahead of other people is pathological. It's not merely aspirational to make a good life for you and your kids. You're now talking about trying to rule the world, trying to block out the sun, trying to own all the world's farmland, trying to get your substances injected into every human body that you can. There's an extent to which that aspiration turns really toxic and megalomaniac and stuff like that, right? So we make an error when we say, well, that person has every right to do that because, free markets. Because it's to ignore the facts that, one, he is committing violence on everyone. Two, he is orchestrating the world's governments to bend to his will through legal processes. Then, oh, you can't question it because it's legal, right? Like, that's a guy that needs to be torn down. That's a guy that doesn't need to have an empire. It's a guy that shouldn't have an empire because he is willing to use absolutely horrible means to get what he wants. He is willing to hurt you. He is convinced that there needs to be fewer people on the planet, and he wants to be a part of that. I'm sorry. I thought we were over genocidal maniacs. I thought we were over eugenics. What's this guy up to? It's absolutely appropriate to knock that bugger down, I think. That's my opinion, of course. We can have very principled positions on, oh, well, free market, but then not want to look at whether or not it's really free and whether or not the freedom of that market can lead to tyranny that you didn't intend in your free market utopia, right? Free market people are very fond of calling other people utopianists, but the free market people can also be rather utopian in their thinking, and that needs to be called out. We do have megalomaniacs, sociopaths, psychopaths in our human family, and to not recognize them as such and not check their behavior because they did it through the legal process, because they harnessed the legal process in their favor. Like, that's insanity. The system is actually a very big part of this problem, because we've got this system that everyone believes in because we like systems for some reason. And then this system gets corrupted and we can't, like, it doesn't compute for people that the system is the problem. Well, you have to have the system. The system needs to be protected. There's the system. You can't buck the system. Work within the system. You have to work within the system. Get things done, legally and properly. That's insane. It can't happen. Like, pragmatically, it can't happen that way. You can't work within that system to address the corruption that the system is. And that's something people don't get. The government system is the corporate system, and the corporate system is the government system. These are systems made to secure wealth, to hoard it, to exclude the vast majority of people from having it. Monopolies are a thing. Oligarchs are a thing. Feudal lords are a thing. Kings are a thing. Governments are a thing. Corporations are a thing. And all of these things like to hold power over plebs. I don't remember how I got started on this rant. I lost my train of thought. Aspiration. So, when we aspire, there's the healthy version and there's the not healthy version. And it's up to us to figure out what that is for each of us. And it's up to us to recognize when someone is aspiring not to better themselves, but to rule over others. And if they're trying to rule over others, they need to be put in their place, because they're trying to put their place on top of you. That's not their place. They need to be put in their own place, on top of their own life, not on top of yours, not on top of mine, not on top of my children's lives. People who aspire to power are the problem. No. Well, yes. The people who aspire to those lofty things are part of the problem. The real problem is when we think that it's okay for someone to lord over us. That's our own failing as people, to think that someone else has a right to rule over us. That's a misunderstanding of the appropriate order of nature. You don't need a ruler. You might like to have a leader. You might like to follow some people, but that doesn't mean that they get to rule you, right? You've got your own agency and your own choice in your life, and you're free to exercise it in a world that is properly oriented. In a world that's as screwed up as this one, you think that the cops have a right to pull you over because you rolled a stop sign. You think that the cops have a right to invade your house because they flashed a piece of paper at you that the judge said they could. I mean, it's insane. You think that the control system that's there to subjugate you is rightfully there. And that's not true. It's not rightfully there. It's there as an aberration of the law of nature, as of the natural law anyway. Law of nature says, survival of the fittest, right? Which doesn't mean strongest, but it means fittest. It means cleverest. It means the one that's able to manipulate all of the laws in their favor. They're going to survive just fine if you continue to believe in their laws. You're unfit because you believe in their authority over you. You're unfit because you wouldn't dare buck authority. Now, in a perverse way, and I'll call it the strategy of rats. Rats always survive wars because they stay low, they don't put their head up, they hide. They'll eventually inherit the earth, but not really, because there will always be people willing to smush them and catch them and poison them. right? You don't get you, it's not a long-term strategy to just hide. It guarantees that your children will have to hide. And then hiding, it's prey animal mentality. You are acting like an animal that is meant to be eaten. And when you run, when you hide, the predators hunt. They smell fear. Please don't be a prey animal. Please don't doom the rest of us to your fate by refusing to look at things squarely. By shying away from calling things what they are. You know, it's a slave system. It is. It's a feudalistic society. It is. We're living in an oligarchy. That's true. all of those are true. People are being herded like animals. They're being squished like rats because the people are allowing it. First and foremost, it's because people allow it. It's because people would like not to have to fight at all the bad people in the world. There are bad people in the world. That's actually a thing. That is a thing. They always think of themselves as the good people, but you can identify them by the ones who want power over other people. The ones who want power over other people, those are the evil people. Know that. If you want power over other people in their daily lives, you're probably the evil one. I would have a carve out for, again, we're talking about aspiration here, for people who aspire to build, make. Specifically, extract. If you have an extractive vocation, you need to be put in check. There are people, the people need to be over you. If you want to take out a forest because you can sell the wood, if you want to spoil a river because you need it for cooling for your chemical plant or your paper mill or your nuclear power plant, if you want to take up a river, no, I'm sorry, you don't get to destroy the rivers for humanity. You don't get to do that. You don't get to take out, this whole swathe of forest willy-nilly. You need to be regulated. And yes, people need to be over you in your activity, because your activity is taking from everybody. And so everybody is in your business rightfully. That doesn't mean that I get to control what goes on in your house. That doesn't mean I get to control how many children you have. That doesn't mean that I get to control anything about your personal life. I'm not talking about your personal life. I'm not talking about what you do in your off time, unless it's hurting someone. I'm talking about what you do to aspire and get ahead and make yourself rich beyond other people. It's not that you can't do it. It's that regulation on it is totally appropriate. It's that you got to do things in a way that doesn't spoil it for everyone else. You've got to not do harm. And it's totally appropriate for people to say, hey, we need to watch you because we're afraid you're going to do harm because what you're doing looks really freaking dangerous. And that's absolutely appropriate. Absolutely. You don't get to spoil a river. You don't get to foul a lake. You don't get to infect everyone's food with your GMO crap. You don't get to do all of the things that you do to make money aren't equally good, right? Some of them are, yeah, okay. you're being you're being hardworking and you're providing a service to people, and people get a benefit from that, and they like it. Great. But if you're hurting people at the same time, not great. I mean, let's make it really simple. Don't hurt people. Don't destroy the world for other people. Don't pollute en masse. I mean, and it's absolutely appropriate to have someone oversee that, and that's something that I think a lot of libertarian-minded people, anarchistic-minded people, don't want to look squarely in the face. It's like, no, actually, you do need to have a system in place to check these people, and it's foolish to think that we can do without such a check on rapacious people. That's it.